What's up, YouTube? Before we jump into our detailing of last night's session, there are 3 points that I wanted to get into. The first of which I think is the most exciting, is I'm going to be doing a giveaway for Poker Analytics 5. It's a poker tracker software application that can be found on Apple and Android devices. I was lucky enough to win a subscription for 1 year, which is valued at $30 through Instagram. They ended up contacting me, let me know how to download it. I was wondering if there was a way for me to do a giveaway, and they were more than happy to do that. So I'm going to be doing 3 on YouTube and 3 on Instagram. I want to make sure that this goes to someone that's actually going to make use of it. The application, I think, is just like the slickest and most useful for tracking your own results. It allows you to filter out by days of the week, different types of games that you're playing, the different limits that you're playing. It also has this really cool feature, which I'm assuming just tracks based on how you're doing per length of play, and it'll let you know if it believes that you're tired. I'm not exactly sure how this works, but it says you have to have like 50 sessions tracked for it to do that. I think it's awesome. I want to make sure, like I said, that it goes to someone that's actually going to use it. So in the YouTube comments below, let me know, if this is something that you're interested in getting, and I'm going to end up picking 3 people at random. The next thing that I wanted to get into is that last video I put out just bombed. I'm not sure if the YouTube algorithm just didn't really like it or what exactly was going on. But, I want to make sure that if I'm going to be spending like 20 hours on a video, that people are going to be watching it. So if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. Hit that bell icon to make sure that you're getting notifications when my new videos do come out. And finally, we got Anti-Nit Poker. If you do support this channel and kind of believe in this process of making poker fun again and not to be a nit at the tables, cop some t-shirts, hoodies. There's also long sleeve. Let me know if there's something that you like or don't like in design. I want to try to make some fresh clothing that I think is, applicable not just to poker, but just living your life. It's not just about being a nit at the poker table, but about, giving back to the community and being a fun person at the table and away from the table. All right, that's all. Let's get into last night's session that I played. I ended up running some errands and jumping to the casino to play a 3-5 with some 3-5-10 going on. And we have a couple of fun, interesting spots. All right, bye, Benjamin. Bye-bye, buddy. What up, YouTube? Finishing a session late at night. It's 1:30 in the morning, heading home. And I've decided that in an attempt to try to get these out as fast as I thought I'd be getting them out, I'm going to try doing some stream of consciousness. Shout out to DGAF and his podcast. I realized, the podcast format's kind of awesome because he gets to just spout his hand histories, talk about his day in 20 minutes to an hour and be done with it, whereas these vlogs take forever to edit. So I decided maybe I can do some graphics, some simple stuff over this, try to get them out faster. I think I did a whole month of that a while ago, where I played 20 sessions in 30 days and pumped out 20 vlogs in 30 days or something like that. It was kind of ridiculous. I don't have any idea how I did it. But anyway, let's get into today's session. It was an interesting one. I played the previous day, not much to note. I won a little bit. Today, I had a couple of errands I needed to do. Go to Costco, which is near the casino. So I kind of helped at home with the kids, got them off to bed, told my wife I was going to go to Costco, run these errands, and then just go play afterwards. So I get to the casino 9 p.m., jump in the game, and pretty early on, I pick up pocket jacks in the small blind, the under the gun limps, under the gun plus 2 limps, under the gun plus 4 limps, button limps. I'm in the small blind. I make it 40 with 2 jacks. There's 2 early position callers, and now cut off plus 1 or whatever. This nitty guy grinder, just he means well. I know he's just trying to probably make a decent living or whatever. It's just a nit ball. Decides to back race to 150. He's playing a $300 stack. And it's really frustrating because I just feel like he's going to have ace, king, or queens here a lot. I don't think he ever does this with 10s. Obviously, he could be doing this with aces and kings. But it's just it's frustrating because I know he has a good hand, but I don't want to fold the dude. I'm a bit angry and just frustrated. Come on, dude, are you really limping? Over limping queens plus in whatever, the middle position after already multiple limpers and there's only 2 people left to act? What are you doing? So I was just whatever, God bless you, congratulations. This guy limp re-raises me a lot. I know he thinks I'm going to be squeezing here fairly wide, so I think maybe sometimes he has 9s or 10s here, although I do think I am beat. So I make it 300. The player's in between fold, he snaps it off, and I'm just congrats, and he's oh, you probably have me beat. I'm whatever, man. Flop comes ace high, it comes ace 3-3, obviously not good, because now I don't even beat his ace king and ace queens. Turns a brick, rivers a queen, and sure enough, he shows pocket queens for queens full. And I just kind of immediately get like a bad taste in my mouth. Like, I can't believe I doubled up this like nitty grinder. It's just frustrating. It's really annoying. He ended up doing this later on too, where he like over limp multi-way like aces, and I know like a limp pot. Somebody flops like enough flush draw on the guy, like gives him a bunch of money, and I was like, dude, if you just raise pre-flop, like you're gonna make even more because this guy's not folding that flush draw, and you would have stacked him instead of picking up like 400, you would have just picked up 1,000. It's just, I don't know, man. Like DGAF says, don't be in it, man. Just play the game. You don't have to like limp aces because you don't know how to play them when you open 20 and like the whole field calls. Anyway, so that kind of sets up the session. It's a bit frustrating for me. Thereafter, I kind of start spewing a bunch, like pulling all sorts of like weird moves, get myself stuck. I think about like 500 or 600. Nothing much interesting to note. Then finally, I pick up pocket nines on the button. We're playing like 4 or 5 handed in the must move. I open a 20. This guy's been fairly active. He's probably stuck like 500 plus now. Makes it 50 in the small blind. The blinds fold. Obviously, just gonna be calling. He's playing like 600 or 700. I'm thinking to myself, just like one time, let me finally flop a set. Like, I just keep having these pocket pairs, not making any hands. So I call. Flop ends up coming 9-8-5 with 2 clubs. He checks, which is a bit frustrating. I end up betting 55 into about 105 or whatever after the rake. And he like immediately goes to grab like raising chips. I'm like, oh yes, please, just like do it. He ends up just flatting. Not my favorite thing, but the turn's a beautiful 8, so pretty much locks it up in my mind. He checks, I check it back. The river is the king of clubs, completing the flush draw on the flop, and he checks again. At this point, like I feel like, I might as well go with the polarizing bet. I think he's gonna have just some crappy hands that he's gonna be folding, or maybe some like hands like ace king that he's like min re-raising pre-flop, and when he rivers the king isn't gonna fold. So I immediately go to like grab like big chips. I want to be betting like 200 plus, and he just grabs like 300, like he's gonna snap call me. And when he does this, it kind of sucks because it's a weird situation where it's like, okay, well if I bet now, like does he know that I knew that he was like never gonna fold? So it puts me in a really weird situation because it's like more important that like if he knows that like I know that he's not gonna fold and I'm still betting, like is he now gonna fold? Feels kind of angry and annoying. And also more important, like if I know he's gonna snap call this like 250 or whatever I'm gonna be betting, should I be betting more? I think if I bet more, that seems even stranger because like he's already told me like he wants to call a big bet, but now I'm gonna like even increase it larger. So I kind of like froze up for a bit. I wasn't really sure what to do. He has like 600. I end up just deciding to bet like 275. He pulls like his like 300 that he's like snap calling back for a bit, tanks and like shakes his head. He's just like, I can't fold this hand. And he calls it off. Obviously I'm good with nines full. I assume he probably had ace king, rivering a king. I imagine if he had a flush, he'd play it a bit differently, maybe even faster on the flop. So it seems most likely he probably had ace king. So we win that hand. Now I'm stuck about like 300. And then this really fun thing happens. They call our table 5-handed for a rack attack, which at this casino is where they have like ping pong balls for each table in the casino. If they pick your ping pong ball out of like the little lottery machine, then they end up bringing a rack of chips for your game. For this game, the 3-5, which is 1,000 cap, they used to give 500. Now they only give 300, still better than nothing. It's part of one of their promotions. So they call our table 5-handed. I'm like, okay, great. Like, hopefully we can bink this one. I end up getting queen 3 offsuit. Obviously nothing of note. Everyone's like, oh, let's just like slow play this. Like, let's not cost anybody money. We all limp the button. The aforementioned player who paid me off on that hand where I had nines full. He makes a 10. We all call. Flop ends up coming 7-5-4. So I flop a gutter. Checks to that guy. He bets 5. We all call. Turns a 4. And now it checks to me with him to act. And I just feel like this is a great spot to like try to like bluff. Maybe run like a 2-street bluff 5-handed. Like people just probably give too much credit. So I decided to bet 10. Everybody calls. Obviously with nobody raising, I feel like I can really credibly rep this 4. And just hopefully nobody has like a 7 that they're going to call with. The river is an offsuit 10. The flush draws miss. Straight draws miss. Checks to me. I kind of confidently bet $10. And it goes like fold to like the last player. And she folds. She ends up folding king high. The player before her ends up folding ace high. Nobody had a pair. So pretty nice for me. I end up picking up this like $400 pot, $400+ pot with queen high, getting this bluff through a rack attack. This is actually the second time I've been able to do this in, I don't know, like my 5 years of playing at this casino. Obviously, it's pretty unlikely you're ever gonna get like a $10 bluff through in like a $400, $500, $1,000 bluff. $1,000 plus pot, which oftentimes it can be if people start getting crazy. So that was really nice. Gets me unstuck. I'm now up like $100, feeling good. And we get table change to the main games, which then brings us to a couple of the more interesting hands that I do play. We'll get into those in a second. So in this hand, I pick up pocket jacks in like under the gun +1. Under the gun opens to 30. It's pretty interesting because I had just been talking to a buddy of mine who broke the 510, I think it was probably 5-10-20 game, and I was talking to him a bunch. There was a player who ran up like 1K and a 25K, so we're talking about that. I get back to my game and mention this to somebody I know, and now the player under the gun who raises starts saying like, yeah, that guy plays like I do, like he's kind of crazy, like bluffs a lot or gets like really aggressive or something like that. So he opens to 30. I have pocket jacks. I think it's pretty clear just call when somebody opens like early position to 6x. We end up going heads up to a flop, which comes 9-7-4 with 2 hearts. He bets 50 into like the $60 pot. I call, turns the queen of hearts, completing the flush, and now he bets 135. I have the jack of hearts. I think this is a pretty clear just call and evaluate the river in position. Obviously, he could still have some overpairs like aces and kings, maybe turn a pair with like ace queen, king queen, but being in position with 2 jacks, I'm just not going to be folding here. So I call the 135. The river is now a offsuit queen, pairing the turned queen, and he bets 275. When he announces this and goes to bet, he kind of does it like shakily, a little weird. I'm kind of paying attention. Feels annoying that he like said that he's gonna be aggressive and crazy, and then ends up like barreling off here, like the literal hand that he ends up saying it. So it feels like it's just gonna be a spot where I'm gonna like have to call off, and he's gonna show me the goods. But given the way he like bet it and just kind of like shakily put in the 75 once he bet 275, I was just kind of fairly confident I had the best hand. I call probably within like 10 seconds, and he says you're good. Don't really know what he had. I table my jacks, and we are good. I think that this is kind of really interesting because I'm not really sure if I end up making this like triple barrel call down if he doesn't say what he had said. A part of it just, did leak into my mind that he's like saying that like he plays wild. He has like 3K on the table, so I know he's probably action unless he's just running really, really good. I don't really have any idea like what kind of hand he's like triple barreling off here with in that manner. Maybe like ace king with ace of hearts. That might be like a likely candidate, or some small pocket pairs. But yeah, anyway, ended up picking up that pot, so that was pretty nice. Which then brings us to the next hand. There is in early position limp, a really tight player who had previously just flatted with kings to trap me in a spot where I ended up squeezing earlier with like queen 4 suited, and he ends up stacking like somebody else in between when he like limp re-raises with his kings. Like, but everyone loves limp re-raising. Like, it's just like the new thing to do in 2019. Like, it's back to 2010. So anyway, he opens to 30. There's a call from the aforementioned action player. I just flat with 2 queens. It's not a spot really I want to be 3-betting because I think A, like, kind of announces my big hand, and if I end up facing a 4-bet, it's going to be kind of gross. As I mentioned, he's a pretty tight player, so I think he's just going to have, like, a strong range here. So I decided to play a bit deceptively and just flat. Now it folds to the early position limper, and he pretty quickly makes it like 235. The player's in between folds. He's playing, I think, about like 1,500 total, maybe 1,400 total. I call the 200 more, and we go heads up to a flop of 4, 5, 6, and he checks pretty quickly. Obviously, this is a board that's going to hit me way more than it is him. Like, he's going to have like the aces, kings, queens, and I could possibly have some pairs, pair plus straight draws, some pocket sevens, some sets that I'm going to be set mining, especially once I ask him pre-flop, like, hey, how much are you playing? So I think like if he bets here, he's going to put himself in a bunch of awkward spots where if like he does have aces or kings, he's going to have to stack off. So I think it's like kind of a fairly standard check from him. He had just gotten back from the 5-10-20 game. So I think like maybe he's a pretty good player. I don't really have much of a read otherwise. So in my opinion, it's possible that he could be checking some overpairs here. I check it back, turns an offsuit deuce, and he checks again. At this point, I'm fairly certain that he's just going to have a lot of ace kings here. And if I bet, he's likely going to fold. I could just bet here to protect my equity, but I decided to check it back and try to eke out some value on the river, maybe snap off some bluffs on the river. The river's an offsuit 10, and he checks again. At this point, it's just extremely obvious to me that he has, like, at best, ace-king high here. I can't really even think of any other hands that he's going to have. Obviously, I can go a little polar here and try to make my hand look bluffy and hope that he, like, snaps off with ace-king, thinking I might have, like, ace-queen suited, or maybe some worse hands like queen-jack suited, things like that. I don't really know what he's going to think of me.
I decided to just go the opposite way and go really, really small. To elicit a check raise bluff on the river from like his ace highs if he thinks like I'm just getting out of line, or B, just get looked up because the pot's obviously fairly huge. I'm gonna be give him a great price. So I bet 120 and he snap calls me. Obviously queens are good. I assume he probably called with ace king high. Looking back on it, I think I should possibly be betting turn here to protect equity. In hindsight, obviously, like I'm like, oh great, like he didn't end up hitting. But I think if I bet this turn, he's kind of forced to call because his hand looks a lot like ace king. And maybe I can get like 2 streets of value if I bet like 250 here and then like bet small on river. I don't know. I'm not really sure like what's best case scenario. Obviously, by like getting a little tricky trappy here, I eked out a little bit more on the river. Maybe I could have bet a little bit larger on the river, like 200, but I kind of really like the micro bet to try to get heroed by the ace high, or possibly just have him like check raise bluff me, which obviously I was just like snap calling off like any sizing. Anyway, I think those are all the interesting hands of note that I played. There might be something else I don't really remember. I'm gonna plan on this time. I didn't really think about like taking notes or just I wanted to like focus and play. I was pretty tired. So I don't really exactly remember all the hands that I played, but those are the ones that stick out of my mind. Ended up booking an $1,100 win, which feels nice. Haven't been playing much lately. I'm going to try to get these vlogs out, like from the sessions that I do play, as just like quick edit. Let me know what you guys think of them. If you do find them interesting, try to do like more of like a daily thing where it's like if I do play, let you know about how my day went, what's happening, and kind of go from there. So yeah, let me know what's up. Hope you like this. And that's all for now. As I mentioned, DGAF's podcast, I'm going to be giving him like a ton of shout outs because I just love his stuff. There's so much I want to say about it. This is kind of a quick rant. I'm going to probably make something else like otherwise, but if you haven't yet, check out his podcast. I'll put a link in the description. It's just like Stone Cold Nuts. I like love listening to it like during the day, if I'm just like trying to put the baby to sleep, or if I'm driving. It's just a fantastic story, but we'll get more into that later. It's really late. I need to get to bed. Peace, guys.